Hey, I'm John Morgan, and at this talk I'm going to be sharing some insights on how to make money doing what you love. No, I'm not a millionaire. I'm not about teaching people how to make loads of money, but I have had a few businesses where I've done exactly what I've loved and made plenty of money to have the life I wanted to live. And I've helped a lot of people do the same, to make money doing what they love. And so a lot of people stop themselves from living their passion and following their purpose because they're either afraid they're not going to make money or they're doing it but not making that much money. And so it's an important thing. You want to be able to know how to do it. You want the confidence that you can do it. And so I'll be sharing some insights in this talk about that. Enjoy.
Now, beyond being a teacher, John Morgan is a real-world practitioner. He walks the talk, he lives what he teaches, and he's genuine and powerful and passionate for changing the world by impacting one person at a time. Please give a very warm welcome to John.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Hey, guys. Whoa. How you doing? Cool. So, how many of you followed our instructions and watched my at least one and maybe both talks or listened? Raise a hand. Raise them higher. Okay. Thank you. About 25%. So you guys are going to get more out of tonight than the rest. But for those who are kind of curious of what I'm talking about, some of the points, go back and watch them because most of my work is about helping people figure out what it is they love, what their passion is, what their purpose is, and then going and creating that in their life. And there's a lot of concepts that I have and I work with clients and in my talks about doing that. And those are the things that I shared in those two talks. And tonight, I want to take it a step further. This is a step that I usually do with clients when I'm actually doing my one-on-one coaching work, which is all right, now how do I actually apply it? And how do I actually make it work for me? So and when we get down to the pragmatics, how do I actually make money doing this? Because that's the pragmatics, right? How many of you, by show of hands, at least know that it's something that you would love to do and haven't started it yet? Okay, cool. Oh, wow, great. Awesome. And not awesome that you haven't started, awesome that you know what it is. There's so many of you. And how many of you are doing something that you love, but you would like to be able to make even a little bit more money at it? Ah, shit, the rest of you. Good. This is going to be great. So, this talk tonight is going to be really organic. Do I have to leave this down? It's freaking me out. Like I have to DVD waiting. I don't have prepared. It's going to be organic. I want to talk about, I've got a list of concepts here. I don't have like a pre-formatted talk. I've got a list of concepts. I want to hit as many of them as I can, but I want to do it through dialogue. I want to do it through dialogue with some of you who have something that they're challenged with right now, with something that they love, they're not making enough money, or they want to start it. So I promise I'll get through as much as I can, but I want to do it. It will make more sense to you that way when I'm working with an individual, but you'll see. So tonight, instead of it being an interesting talk, it's going to be an interesting conversation. Is that cool with you guys? Yeah. All right. And because we're kind of DIY here, we've got one mic. So either you're going to be up close and I'm going to hear you, or I'm going to repeat your question back. So I'm not just mimicking you, I'm repeating it for the recording. So let's start with a few of you and what you'd love to do. So of the people who would love to do something, but you're not doing it right now because, well, you just can't figure out how you can make money doing it, or you're not sure you'll be able to make money doing it, raise your hand. Okay, a couple more people, yeah? All right, you were first. What is it that you would love to do, but you're not doing it?
Well, I did a hypnotherapy course about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was quite a good one, but I never got around to actually practicing much. So then I've just finished another course, and I don't want that to happen again. It's a better course, it's in cognitive hypnotherapy, and I want to make a go of it this time.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you want to make a go of it. Doing what? What do you want to do?
Being a cognitive hypnotherapist.
Cool. Okay. Being a cognitive hypnotherapist. So let's get somebody else too. Who else? Raise your hand. Something you want to do that you haven't started yet? Yes, sir.
Be a musician professionally, support myself with my music.
Cool. And are you playing and making money from it at all, or?
Well, I used to teach it, and at the moment I quit because I'm doing masters, and I'm into it now, so I'm getting into that now.
Okay, good. All right. So make money making music, make money being a hypnotherapist or a cognitive behavioral therapist. What else? In the back, sir.
Sports psychologist.
Cool. You are that, or you want to become that?
Something I've thought about doing for a few
Okay.
helping people realize their best performance on the sport field.
And so, is a sports psychologist like an academically certified thing that you need to study first and be approved, or is it like a?
You have to study some form of psychology and then specialize later on. But at the moment, I'm just unclear on the correct route to take.
At the moment, what?
I'm unclear on the correct path. What steps you have to follow?
Oh, unclear on the correct path. Where's my markers? Oh, here. Unclear on the correct path to become a sports psychologist that would make money. Okay. Correct path. I'm just going to write some stuff down. And let's go back over here. What is your concern that's like, if I just knew this, then I could go, and then I could be a cognitive hypnotherapist that makes money?
If I knew that I could get enough clients.
Okay, enough clients. That's a good one, common. Anybody else have that? Will I get enough clients? Okay, good. What else? There was, what was the other person? Oh, the music. What's the thing that's stopping you right now from just going and do that to make money?
Well, I find it a bit daunting the fact that you get, say in London, you get all these big bands playing for free, and there's nobody in the audience but the friends. So starting off maybe in London or somewhere else that has a good music scene, how do you get paid for that? Big bands are playing for free.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else want to share theirs? Thing they want to be doing, but they're not doing yet? Yes?
I want to offer workshops on how to break bad habits and replace them with good habits.
You want to offer workshops on how to break bad habits and replace them with good habits?
Yes.
What's stopping you from doing that right now?
No, I just have this deep fear. I don't know what it is.
Okay.
All of those things in the works.
Okay. If I'm really honest, the thing that scares me the most is that
I'll make a fool out of this.
yeah. Cool. Thank you for sharing that and being that vulnerable. Oops. I'll make a fool of myself. How many of you, by show of hands, have a whole bunch of stuff they would love to do, but none of them seem like things that could make you money? I said this in the description. It's like, I'd love to surf, I'd love to travel, but that's not going to make me any money. Raise your hand if you've got stuff that you think you'd love. Okay, good, cool. All right, so well, let's do this. Yell out all the things that you would love to do, whether the things that you think could make you money or things that couldn't. Just start saying them, and I'm going to write them down. Everybody, like not just the people that I just asked, but anybody and everybody in the room, something you'd love to do, just say, everybody say at least one thing they'd love to do. I'm going to write them all down, and I'm going to use 2 different colors, and then I can explain why after. So just yell them out. Travel. Yes. Sculptor. Okay.
Okay.
What?
Cooking.
Okay. Yeah.
Dancing.
Dancing.
Bungee jumping.
Writing.
Right, what is it?
Writing.
Writing. Cool.
Photography.
Yes.
Learning about history.
Learning about history. Can I just put learning for now? Is that cool? I'll put history in parentheses.
Interior design.
Interior design. Brainstorming. Like yourself or with other people? With other people, okay. I'd love to sit in a room and just brainstorm. Some more good ideas. What? I know people like that. They just get like the biggest dry erase boards. I'm going to be an entrepreneur to sit in a room all day and just like write on this. Anyway, what is it? Inventing. Cool. Another one. Deep conversations. More. I got paper. What? Sports. Like team sports or like exercise?
Scuba diving.
I'm going to put sports. Oops, I'm going to do this. Sports, scuba, more. What is it?
Painting.
Painting. Cool. What else? Teaching? Oops. Teaching. Another one. Reading. Okay. All right, one more. I have space for one more. Wine. What is that? That's a thing. This is an action. Drinking. Tables. What? Tables? Okay. Anyway, it's funnier to me. So I just wrote these down in 2 different colors. A lot of times when people send me, or we talk by email or something, one of the first exercises I have them do is to say, write down 100 things that you would love to do. They send it to me. I'm like, great. Now take that list and go back through it and divide everything in it into 2 columns. And the 2 columns are input and output. And input and output. And what I mean by that is, from your perspective, for that, how that feels to you, does that feel like it would more serve you by doing that or more serve other people? Who would it have more value to? Who would it have more impact on if you were to do that? And the reason I have them do that is just to have some perspective. Both things will fulfill you through doing it and give you that feeling of fulfillment, but the ones that are more of an output for you are going to add value to the world. And those are the ones that are more likely to pay you. Now, I chose colors here, right? But I chose these colors based on, for me, if I did this, that would be more of an output task because of where I'm at with it and my skill level. Because there's a continuum, right, from between input and output. Like music's a perfect example of this. In the beginning, in most cases, music's going to be an input thing. It's going to be about you and fulfilling you. It's going to take a lot of practice and getting better and better at it until, for different, depending on your talent, all these kinds of things, until it can become something that other people out in the world are like, they want to, that's valuable to them. If I gave somebody in here today who's never played an instrument, a guitar, and I was like, go make some money, you could try, but it's going to be harder for you because the thing is, it takes time to get to a point where you're going to be able to impact the world in a way that they're going to want to reciprocate based on the value that they're receiving. So it can be a shocking thing. Sometimes people get, oh my God, I can't believe I thought of 100 things. And I give them this exercise, and they write back, and there's 98 on this side and 2 on that side. And it's like, ooh. But at least it gives you somewhere to go. So do that exercise. Send me the lists if you want. But how many of the things that you would love to do are about yourself, and how many of them are about helping and impacting other people? And if it's all these things and none of those, then, well, you got to pick something and get really good at it. So that way it becomes valuable to the world. That's the first thing. The other thing is, if you're really heavily weighted on the side of all about input and all the experiences that will be impacting you, then you've probably been ignoring your own self for too long. And you still need to serve yourself by doing these things. So one of the things is to just start doing the input stuff anyway, because what it will do is it'll start to give you more personal fulfillment. It will start to serve your soul. If you go back and watch some of the videos that I talked about, it's like contribution is a huge part of living with passion and fulfillment, but it's kind of the one that comes at the end, after you've taken care of yourself. I'm okay. Are you okay? We need to be fulfilled first on that level. And then the output things will naturally arise as you start to take care of yourself more. So there's a couple solutions to this, right? Just to review them. The input thing, if you have too many inputs, just start doing them, because it will start to make you feel better and feel fulfilled. And when you feel fulfilled and you're doing stuff that you love and you enjoy, you'll be able to tap into your creative flow more. And when you're tapping into your creative flow, it's easier to make associations. It's more likely that you're going to come up with ideas on how you can impact the world and add value to the world. If you're just sitting there wishing that you had something else and not providing yourself with any kind of fulfilling experience, then your thinking is so linear. You're also not glowing, so people don't really want to be around you. But if you're doing stuff that you love, I mean, when you come back from holiday, you're like really glowing and buzzing, and you just put off great energy, and people want to be around you, and that will lead you into the output orientation. Does that make sense, thinking about the things you love in input versus output? It's not really binary, but I make it binary to help you give some distinction and perspective on that. And so there's some hard truths that I'm going to be sharing tonight, right? Well, in my other talks, like, you can do this, you can do anything, you can do anything. And it's true, you can do anything. There's some buts. Some things are easier to make money with, especially for me. Like, if I wanted to make money bungee jumping, I'd have to be really good. Like, there's a guy who makes money jumping out of, like, hot air balloons, right? The whole Red Bull guy? Like, they jump from, like, the edge of the atmosphere, but he had to do a lot of skydives to get up to that point. So you can make money doing anything if you get amazing enough at it. But for me, like, deep conversations, brainstorming, teaching, that's easy. That's more of an output thing for me. Does that make sense? So let's go back to our 3 people that we started with. Hypnotherapy, is that more of an input thing or an output thing for you? Fantastic, cool. Music, whereabouts for you is it?
I think it's both. It started with the input, obviously, and now I'm at the point where it's becoming an output.
People get value from it. Cool, great. I know there's other concerns, we'll come back to that, but just to be able to identify this piece. And in the back, with your sports psychology, what about where you're at right now?
It's output because it's helping other people.
Yeah.
But it's input because you get satisfaction in other people.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. It doesn't matter if there's both, it just matters if you want to make money, then it has to add value to the world. It has to have an output element to it. And hopefully, if it's something you love, it does have an input element. It's just, so I guess it's like, it's not either or, it's, does it have both or it has just one? That would be a better way of looking at it. So, you probably heard me talk about the terms, the idea follow your bliss before. It's a Joseph Campbell idea. And if you have a whole bunch of input things and not that many output things, and you just do what you love, and you start to enjoy yourself, and you follow your bliss, you'll be filled with that spirit, and from that spirit you get creative ideas and insights, and you can create an output thing. And also, as I said, you're kind of, I look at people like they're a light bulb, and the more energy you put into them, the bigger they glow. And so I use this metaphorically. I'm not very much of an esoteric kind of thinker, but I've seen it so many times. You know, when people start to do things that they enjoy, they put off an energy, they put off a glow, they're more persuasive, they're more engaging, it's easier to connect with them, you want to be around them. And that's good for business. As I'll talk about later, and all the concepts about how you create clients and all that kind of stuff, you want to be filled with energy, you want to have spirit, you want to be happy and loving what you do. And this is the whole thing behind, I think, the whole, like, the secret and just doing what you love, and then it's just magical. I don't know how it happens. It's magic. And the magic angels fly down and we do what we love and they give us everything. But it's so simple, so much simpler than that. When you're passionate and doing what you love, like, people see that and they want to be around that. So what I'm trying to do by saying this over and over again is give you permission to do things even if they're only input, and trust that that will start to lead you towards output. While at the same time, keeping a conscious awareness that the only thing that's actually going to get me paid, this is the big distinction, is things that add value to the world. Like, tough luck. Traveling's not going to get you paid by itself because it's most likely an input thing. But it doesn't mean that you couldn't travel and write and travel and write and write and write until you got really good at it, and then it started to impact people's lives, or photography, or any of those things. So, I have written down here, money flows towards value. That's a principle. And so if you want to make money doing what you love, you have to do something that you love that provides value to the world. It's so obvious once you say it, but somehow people miss it. So, and this is something that I didn't consciously think about in my life, but looking back on my 3 or 4 businesses since I was in, like, my late teens, it's how I've done it. I did my first business, which was when I was in university, was IT support. I was studying computational physics. So I had a lot of, kind of tech nerdy, like, understanding of computers and stuff. So whenever I was in small businesses and they were having a problem with the computer, I could see them stuck on something. I'd say, well, let me have a look at it, and then just sit down and just fix it, and they say, oh wow, thank you so much. Yeah, if you ever need my help, just give me a call. And it was something I enjoyed doing, so I was just doing it. I was in real estate, and I loved doing that, and I just followed my heart to do things that I enjoyed to do and made money from them. And I'll tell more about those stories as we go on tonight. But Man, it's freaking hot in here. Are you guys sweating? Can you open the door again? I'm just like, it's like I'm eating curry. So, let's see. Let's go into your cognitive behavioral therapy or your hypnotherapy. What's your first name, by the way?
Jenny.
Jenny. So you said that your hesitation was, let's go back a page. One of your hesitations were you the enough clients one? Or were you the correct path one? No, you were the enough clients. Correct path was back there. Enough clients. Am I going to get enough clients? So tell me more about that. What is that? Enough for what?
To make a living.
To quit your current job, or
Well-
to be considered to be good, or what is it?
I'm not going to give up my current job yet.
Okay, so if you had to finish this sentence, I'm afraid that I wouldn't get enough clients to...
Pay the bills.
Okay, so does the current job not pay the bills?
Yeah, it does.
So you want to be able to pay the bills with both, even though you want to keep...
Oh, I will. But I would like to do that more than the current job, so I guess that's my...
So you'd like to... I'm afraid I'm not going to get enough clients to pay the bills so that I can leave my current job eventually?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going on here is there's the current job, and then there's the other thing you want to do, and if you did it, and you're not going to quit your job, you'd do it on the side, and if you did enough of it to make enough money to leave the current job, then you'd leave.
Yeah.
But you're not sure that you'd make enough money doing this thing on the side to leave, so you're not starting it yet. Okay. So what's obvious to you? Not to be pedantic, but what's obvious right off the bat?
No, I am actually in the process of starting it.
In the process?
Yeah.
So tell me about the so do I have permission to coach you right now? Okay, good. Tell me about the process.
Well, I have to set up a website. First of all.
You have to set up a website. What else?
What else? I have to find a room
You have to find a room.
to practice from,
Yeah.
and I have to find clients.
And you have to find clients. Okay. And if you met somebody today who said, I'd really love some hypnotherapy, can you help me? Would you say, sorry, I don't have a website, I don't have a room?
No,
No, what would you do?
I would get a room and I'd see them.
Okay, so if we had 1, 2, 3 find clients, could we just flip it around and make the find clients the first one? And the other ones would get sorted out if you found one? Okay, cool. So we've solved 2 problems. One is you don't have to wait because there's no point in waiting. It's kind of obvious when you look at it. And the second one is you don't need a website and you don't need a room because if you had a client, you'd just figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And now the next problem is I need to find clients. Cool. We're going to come to that one with enough clients. Enough/find. Does anybody else want to do a business that's service-oriented and the concern would be like, how am I going to find clients? How am I going to get enough clients? Cool. All right. And in the back, the sports psychology. Tell me about your concern as to whether or not it's the correct path. And what is the it that you're considering?
Well, I say correct path is what step to take. I mean, I would have to get some sort of qualification first. And I'm not sure what colleges would provide that special training that I need.
So how long have you been, do I have permission to coach you a bit from here?
Yeah.
From like 20 meters? I just want to ask, because sometimes when I get in the vibe, I'm like, boom, a little bit aggressive, and I want to make sure that you know. So you don't have to answer any questions I ask you, but you're welcome to. So when you are considering which path should I take, and I don't know which certification and stuff like that, how long have you been considering that? Is it something new, or?
No, about 2 years.
You've been considering it 2 years?
Yeah.
So have you looked at all the different possibilities, or do you not even know what they are yet?
Well, I've inquired on courses in London which do psychology, behavioural psychology.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that's if that's the correct route to follow.
Okay, cool. Got it. So how do you know when something is correct?
Well, I guess if you try and talk to some kind of experienced practitioner, someone who's already in that profession and understand what training you need to.
Okay.
A lot of them are ex-athletes themselves.
Yeah. And are you an ex-athlete?
No.
Okay, good. So now let me share a concept or principle that hopefully will give you some new perspective on this. In my other talks on my YouTube channel, you can see me talk a lot about this concept of not following my advice. And I forgot to give that warning, but here's my warning. Do not follow my advice during this talk tonight. And my reason for that is that, like, if you follow my advice, then you're going to live my path to some degree. And if you're doing that, then you're not going to live your path. I really believe that everybody, deep down inside them, they've got something that's unique to them. And the more they do that, the more fulfilled they are. So my first concern for you is if you're looking out into the world for the correct path, meaning the path that's most right, then you're definitely not going to find the path that's in here. And so people say, should I take the Liz path or this path? Neither of them. Create your own. Okay, so that's the first principle on which my next response is going to come from. I wrote up this really clever phrase today, and it's be unique. Is that good? Be unique. If you see that somewhere, I made that up. I probably didn't, but be unique. And that is your USP. Like, as soon as you say, forget how everybody else does it out there, I'm going to be the guy that was never a pro athlete, and that's why I'm so good at this. Because I'm not fogged by the inside perspective. I can bring everything on the outside in because I didn't grow up in athletics and sports. I bring the other world to sports psychology. I'm just making up some shit right now. Like, just, it might sound good.
That's a nice soundbite thing about it. There's still a place for experience. People value experience.
Yeah.
And they need that to get in the door.
Right, and what do they want experience of? Do they want experience of being sports psychologized, or do they want experience of playing the game? So here's the point. Your point is exactly right. And it's one of the things I have down on here. And it's they value experience. But I'm going to play with your words a bit. People think that they value our experience, but they don't. They might a little bit, but that's just about them using their perception to make a judgment about your experience, which means that you could help me. What they value even more than that is their experience. And so even more important than what you have done or haven't done is what you create for them as an experience for them. And so whichever way that you want to do it is what I'm saying should be the path that you should take. And so when I say be unique, instead of looking out there as to like what is the right way to do it, start looking inside and think, how would I love to do it? So let me just ask you right now, what if there was no rules? And what if you could do it however you wanted? And what if however you did it was going to work for you and you're going to be successful? What's the path out of all the paths that you know that you would take? What's one that just calls to you? I know it's hard because we're consciously kind of trying, well, but if you were to turn the but volume down and just be like, this one would be awesome, this one, that would be cool. What would that one be? What would you love to do first? Instead of the whole path, what would be your first, what would you love your first step to be, if any first step would be right? Would be the most fun.
Yeah, it's like the dressing room at the half time the team talk and listen to what goes on in the room.
Cool.
That'd be cool.
Can you do that?
I would have to get very close to a sports manager or coach or some description of the meeting.
Cool.
That'd be a good way to get in.
Yeah. Cool. And there's a path. That could be your path. You could be the guy that just gets in there and pays attention and gets to know people and makes connections. It could be a path. And this is the thing, like, now you've got that, right? And it's just like one thing, and it's like, oh, is that the right one? No, it's not the right one. It's just one that you made up. And my job is the metaphor that I use is like my clients, like when I meet them, I meet all of them, but then when they sign up with me, like I work for their heart. And their head becomes my enemy. And my job is like kick the crap out of your head and so I can serve your heart. So that your head can get out of the way and me and your heart, we can go and do those things. Like you can do that. And the head part, and we're just doing this as a little example, right? But this is an example. But the head part is the part that's like, yeah, that's what I would most love to do first, but I can't do that first because nobody does that first. That's not how it works. You can't just go walk, like who am I to just go walk into this and just be there? Like, that's this part. I had a woman I coached who came to one of my recent talks, and I met her at the talk, and at the end of the talk, she came up to me and she was just saying, yeah, I'm not really enjoying what I'm doing. There's just something else that I would love to do, but, and she kind of wouldn't say what it is, but I could tell there was something. And so when I got home, I kind of looked at everybody that came to the talk, and I was kind of Googling, and I did some research, and I found that she had this blog where she was writing about politics, which has nothing to do with her job in IT. And so I emailed her, and we started having a conversation, and we ended up going for a walk in Regent's Park. And throughout a 2-hour walk, sometimes it takes this long for me to get down deep enough until she was willing to share with me what I call her secret dream. And her secret dream, after coming from Somalia to London and going through all these challenges, was to be a broadcaster on TV in a Middle Eastern news station. And, but oh my God, I never said that out loud, never mind to somebody else. Like, thinking it is even kind of scary. So what we did is something that I love to do when people come up with this huge, beautiful dream. Like, so somebody else give me a huge, amazing dream that seems like, who's willing to share their secret dream right now? Like something that's just like, oh my God, I can't say that out loud. But if I say it, like maybe that means I'll have to do, like what is it? Who's got one? Come on. Yes. Start a magazine for teenagers. Cool, thank you for sharing that. That's big, that's great. So what I do with that dream, and stay with me for a minute, is I take it like this, and I just smash it on the ground. And I break it into 1,000,000 pieces. And I'm like, whoa, 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 don't move. Don't move. And then I just take one over here, one tiny little piece, and I pick it up. This is like my internal metaphor. And every little tiny piece that made up that dream is one tiny little thing that I did to create that in the real world. And I just take that and I eat it. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I pick up the phone and make that one little phone call that was that little piece that made that whole thing happen. Because people just carry on these big dreams. And it's like, yeah, I love this dream. It's great. I'm going to do it someday. And I'm like, it's like, you're just like stuck beneath this huge, massive dream. You do nothing. So smash that shit on the ground. Break it into 1,000,000 pieces. Pick them up. The tiniest freaking pieces. If there's still some big chunks, slam them on the ground. Tiny pieces, and then just start eating them. So when I smash that on the ground, right, what's this? And if you were to look at all the tiny little pieces, all the tiny little things that you did, like these little 5-minute actions that made that whole thing real, what would be what would be like one of the tiniest ones you could do just first?
Volunteer to work with teenagers.
Volunteer. I would say that's a chunk that's about this big. Let's a little bit smaller. What's the first thing in that?
Read them. Teenagers.
Okay, well, do you know where you can volunteer with teenagers? Okay, so it would be like, go and just call that place. Yeah, there's an action. Will you do that? Tomorrow. Cool. So, okay, and this is the thing. It's like, yeah, but that's just one little thing. But it's not just one little thing. It's one little piece of this huge, big thing. Commitment and consistency in putting this back together is what makes it a real thing. Take it from a dream, smash it into pieces, and then put it back together one little piece at a time. It sounds so simple, John. It's not that easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it is simple. Okay? So, I was kind of linking that back to your thing. Like, it's just one thing. But if you're trying to break that down and just do that, then what you do, like this is the thing, people stack up all these things I need to do. It's like, let me pick up all these pieces now and carry them around in these baskets. I gotta do all these things and I'm gonna have my dream, and you're like, oh, it's just pulling you down again. No, leave them on the floor. Don't let anybody in there so they step on them or anything and mess them up. But like, just leave them there. And you can go and pick them up. Like, go pick one up, go do it. And then once you've done that, then come back and look at the pieces. There's a great book, 59 Seconds, Think a Little, Change a Lot. And in it, he talks about this concept, what the heck's his name? Richard Wiseman, yeah. Awesome book, but it's where they break down a bunch of the personal development stuff, what works and what's crap. And one of the cool things in there is like, if you think about all the things you need to do when you're doing stuff, it makes you crushed and your motivation is crushed. You don't end up doing anything. So when you're in action, all you should be thinking about is the one thing. Just forget about the whole big project. Just focus on that one thing. And then when you're back in your planning stages and what should I be doing, then that's when you think about the big picture. But when you think about which parts of the things has a big impact on your flow and how much action you do. But that kind of is more of a tangent about getting stuff done. So, be unique. Smash your dreams. Turn them into pieces. Do one little piece at a time. Take action on that thing. don't worry about if it's the correct path, because you want to create a path. You don't want the right path. And enough clients was the next one. So, now we're going to go in deep to the money part. It feels like an anomaly. I know I'm not, but it feels like it in the world that I live in, which is the personal development world. When I first got into this industry, my kind of way I got into it is kind of weird. Like, I was into card magic in America. That guy, David Blaine, who sat in the box that nobody liked over here, like, he was my inspiration way back when he was doing actual street magic. Then I got into Darren Brown stuff, and then when I came to the UK, I was like, wow, this dude's awesome, as I was learning about psychological magic, and then I got into NLP and hypnosis, and that led me into the world of coaching, and I was like, wow, I've always been an entrepreneur and kind of helping people get paid for this, cool, let me try that out, and I started doing that. And that's how I got into this industry, and I started off in a way that I'll explain a little bit later, but then I found all these people who told me all these ways that you're supposed to do it in this industry so that you can be really successful, and the way to do it is to be perceived as an expert, look like you're fucking amazing, and then people will pay you lots of money. So besides the fact that it made me really uncomfortable, I tried to do it anyway. It just didn't work for me that much. I did the whole personal branding thing and creating an online presence, a website where I looked like I knew what I was talking about. But for some reason, clients didn't show up that much. And so I went back to the way that I did my previous businesses. And this is really the crux, the center focus, the center point of my whole talk tonight, and what I want to share with you guys, and from a whole different bunch of angles. And it's this idea that most people, when they think about starting a business, they get it ass backwards. They think that I have this thing that I want to do for the world, and so what I need to do is I need to go out there and convince people to pay me so that I can provide them with the service. And they sit around, reading books, spending time tinkering with a website, going to networking events and just talking about what they do, but feeling really uncomfortable because they're not actually doing it. Yo, some of you guys can relate to that, huh? Yeah, I think I've met a few of you. No, just kidding. I've done that. It stinks. It's really awkward. What do you do? Oh, what do you do? You know, it's like, I'm trying to avoid that question. I'm not doing anything, but I'll say something that sounds like I do something. It sucks. It just doesn't feel good, right? And so it's so backwards. Like, here's how I started my IT business. I told you when I was like 19 or 20. I just started helping people when their computers were messed up. And when they needed help again, I'd be like, sure, let me come down. And I help them out, and maybe one more time. And then when they called me again, I'd be like, yeah, but I've got a business now. Like, I'll do this, but it's going to cost this much. Yeah, well, you did a good job. Come on down, help us. We need your help. Cool. All of a sudden, I was making money. $10 an hour, 20, 30. This was in the States. Ended up making more money part-time doing that than my first job, which is why it only lasted 6 weeks after university, and I quit and went back to doing IT. But it started by doing the thing before I was trying to make money, or even ask for money, or even market, or even really be able to say what I do. Cool, thanks. When I was in real estate, I started off as an estate agent. Is anybody in here a estate agent? Are you? You used to be. Okay. I just had an experience as an estate agent in London that wasn't like an estate agent experience. Okay, so it's cool. We can talk like that. It wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. So I'm just saying I was an estate agent, but I wasn't. If you had an experience with one in London, it's probably a little bit different in America. But in any case, that's all just like crap that I'm saying right now because I'm worried about what you're going to think if I said I was an estate agent. So just white space that all out. Whatever. I was an estate agent, and my mentor Paul. I remember distinctly. When I was just first getting started, we were driving around, and Paul he also had kind of a maintenance crew that did fixing up houses and stuff like that. And we went to these people's house, and they were thinking about whether or not they'd hire Paul to fix their house, to sell their house, and they had a gutter problem. So Paul said, I'm going to send my guys over and fix it, no charge, no worries. And then they said, well, we're not sure we're going to hire you. He's like, no, don't worry about it. And Paul just sent the people over anyway, fixed the gutter, which is the thing that catches the rain. I don't know if he's the same word. And that was it. And I was like, man, you don't even know if they're going to sign up with you. He's like, it doesn't matter, man. Like, you gotta do things for people. It comes back to you. And I was like, yeah, that's true. That's kind of how I did my other business. And I just started doing that. Like, I just started helping people out constantly. Thinking about selling your house. Here's some tip. Here's some advice. Not so that you can, just because, like, I can do this. Here's what I know. Sharing, serving, helping. I had a business called Change Media Group with a few friends, and we built this business, and in the course of 2.5, 3 years, we were doing big six-figure website projects for companies like international charities. We worked only with charities, actually. Some big organizations, some big sites, and we started from scratch 2 years before that, really. And the way we started it was, hey, on the sides of our other jobs and stuff, we're just going to start making websites for charities for free. Little community, neighborhood web charities. And we started building websites for nothing because they didn't have any money. And then they referred us to somebody else. Yeah, sure, we'll do your website for free too. Boom, 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 boom. No sales, no marketing, just service. And fast forward 2 years, boom. They all quit their jobs. I already working for myself, and we're making plenty of money getting paid for huge websites. Coaching. My first coaching client was one of my best friends. My second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, all my friends. Let me coach you, because I want to do this. It's very strict. They set up very professional. You're my friend, but not more coaching. And so I had, a 3-4 month program, I think it was, with 6 friends. And so when I went out into the world and I talked about what I did, I was coaching. Yeah, they're my friends. I don't have to talk about that, but it was real. I was doing it. And then my focus was on just coaching people. Just coaching people. Instead of trying to say, hey, will you hire me as a coach? Let me try to prove myself with all this stuff. There was an overlap there because I started off that, and then I went down the path of marketing thinking I was doing it wrong, and then I kind of abandoned that and went back to just coaching. But the same thing worked out, and now here I am doing really well as a coach, making plenty of money and helping other people to do the same. So we're going to pause for a break, but I think you get the main point here, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff you want to do, and you're not doing it because you're afraid of how you get paid. What if instead of spending that time sitting there doing nothing, or spending that time tinkering with the website, or spending that time trying to think about what it is that you do, or how to talk about what you do, or spending time trying to find people to help, what if you just started doing the thing that you love to do? And started helping people, started serving people? What if you filled all of your days, all of your spare time with serving, 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 no sales, no marketing, just doing things for people, impacting the world? Let's take a break and then we'll go into detail with this. Thanks, guys.
It's very, very well done. Let's bring back on John Morgan.
Okay, so diving right back in. Serving instead of selling. It's just an idea. It's kind of obvious once you say it. I have written down sales and marketing is a game that works, but you don't need to play it. There's another way, service. My client, Sarah, who just signed up for her second year of coaching with me, when I first met her, she had just left her corporate job in health and safety, and she wanted to go and do in consulting, but she had no clients, and she was struggling trying to figure out how to convince these people that she could do this independently. And I was like, well, why do you have to try to convince them and persuade them? What if you just started doing it for people? And so she did. And within, I think, a week or two, she had a client, and then another client, and 3 clients. And now, a year later, she's making more money than she was at her job. But it all snowballed. She's got big clients now, with major airlines. She's working with the British Transport Police. She's becoming one of the top health and safety consultants in the country. And it all snowballed from just being willing to do the thing first without trying to prove yourself. Without trying to persuade them to believe that you can do it. And so, because the next one I have written down is prove instead of persuade. Just prove that you can provide value by just doing it, instead of trying to persuade or convince them. Experience of value trumps any and all persuasion techniques to create the expectation of value. Experience of value trumps any and all persuasion techniques to create the expectation of value. Would you agree with that? If you experience value, you're a pretty good bet that this provides me value, that if I do more of it, it's going to provide me value. As opposed to, it really sounds like it's going to. There's always that little bit of doubt, but when you've experienced it, boom. It blows my mind how when people sign up with me for coaching, I just signed up a client for a year of coaching. She's from Pasadena, California. We've never met in our life. We've spoken on the phone 3 times. And she's paid me a very large amount of money for a year of coaching. And why did she do that? Sure, we've got some trust, but she's never even seen my face, like on Skype or anything like that, just over the phone. And why does she do that? Not because she has a really great feeling about me, or it's because I've created impact in her life and in her world. I've spent time with her, and everything has started to change. Her whole life has changed in just the small amount of conversations we've had. And so she knows that if I have more of these conversations, my life's going to keep getting better and keep changing. It's just that experience that was enough for her. And it will be enough for people. When you're willing to just go out there and serve and add value and impact people, some of them are going to be like, this is obviously working for me. I obviously enjoy this, whatever. I want more of it. Pretty simple, right? I know that some of you right now are like, well, yeah, but that doesn't really apply to me, or how could I do that? And that's cool. I want to come to that, but we'll come to it at the end, because I have a lot of things I want to go through, and some of them might get dealt with. So here's another. I'm just going to bounce through these, and here's what I want to do. If somebody's got a yeah, but, just raise your hand actually, because we can create a dialogue that way. Because I work really well when somebody brings up a yeah, but, because it will help me bring some of these in. So does anybody have a yeah, but right now? Awesome. What's your yeah, but?
Don't you think that people value more what they pay for? Whether that is, and when they get results free, they tend to put those results not solely down to you, but to other factors in their life.
Yep, sometimes,
The next person that hears that experience may turn around and say, well, they got it for free, so they're going to charge me $100, and they go, they got it for free, and also she was doing this, that, and the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. People value what they pay for more, right? If you pay £1,000 for a bottle of wine, you're going to value it more than the one you got for free.
Yeah.
Sure. If you and so there's a couple things to that. The first one is that's true, and doesn't mean it has to stop you from helping people for free.
No.
It just means that you have to draw a line in the sand.
But that also can be hard to make people happy.
It can be hard for you, or it can be easy for you. It depends how you think about it. And so it's how, are you drawing that line out of fear, or are you drawing it out of desire for you and for them? So here's the way that I do it in my business. We'll talk about yours as well, whatever your kind of thing is, right? And so for me, this is what I'm willing to do with people for free. And I draw this line in the sand, and I would love to cross it with you. That's my client line. But the only way either of us are crossing it is if you pay this. Please pay it because I want to cross it with you, but that's how I work. And so it's not like, oh, I'm a little bit uncomfortable saying this. No, this is how I work. And I want to, it's just like when you walk through Covent Garden, they're like, would you like a piece of pizza? Great, you have any samples. But if you want a whole pizza, you have to pay. That's the line. You don't get a whole pizza for free. So what is your thing that you're thinking about? How does this apply to you?
Well, it doesn't apply. I've done both. I've given training and I used to personal training.
Okay. So is there something in your future, potential future right now, where you're like, if I do it for free, they're not going to value it?
Not specifically, no. It was just a bus. So like you asked for a bus, and that was one of the ones.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's thank you for sharing it, because it's a good butt. And it stopped so many people. Well, thank you. That was intentional. No, it's like, this is a personal trainer, so I was trying to play with that whole, it's a good butt, right? Yeah, no. No, it's a good one, because it's a concern. If I do this for free, they're not going to value it. Yes and no. They'll value it if you don't devalue it by just being what my coach's coach calls a pro bono bonehead. And I love that. Like, don't be a pro bono bonehead. Know that you're giving away this much and know where your line is and be strong on that. It's the people whose line constantly moves. That's what the devalue is, because they see you not valuing it. Just because you do something for free doesn't mean you don't see value. And it's actually paradoxical, because if I do it for free, it's seen as more valuable than if I do it for 10 quid.
Yeah, you can double your price.
Yeah, of course. That's right. So it goes both ways. But the solution to that is to draw a line and not cross it. You know? Yes?
Do you think sometimes if you say, well, I'll give it to you for free, but if you want to give me a donation, do you think that works?
Let's poll the group, okay? So I'll coach you guys for free, but if you want to give me a donation, you can. Does it feel valuable? No. Okay. What?
Don't have much to give you.
Yeah. You don't know how much to give me.
It's 50 quid, it's 50 quid. If you say, give me something, I'm like, well, is 30 quid enough, or has it got to be 70 quid?
That's another confusion, but even more important than that, does it feel valuable when I say that? No. But what if I said, I don't work with anybody unless I know that they're the kind of client who I can really impact their life. And the only way I know that is to spend some time with you. There's no charge for that in the beginning, but that's how I figure out as to whether or not you're somebody that I could have as a client. So I'm going to spend some time with you, and then if we're going to work together, it's going to be X, Y, Z. Does that feel more or less valuable than the previous? More. Because there's a reason that I'm doing this, and the reason's authentic. And you've got to find your own authentic reason to serve and impact people for free. I mean, it could even be as simple as, I don't make the assumption that what I do for you is going to be valuable, whether it's a widget or a service or whatever it is. I don't make that assumption. So what I want you to do is to experience it, and then to tell me if you think it is. And then we'll have that conversation. Whether it's a piece of pizza out in Covent Garden, or it's coaching, or hypnotherapy, or sports psychology, or music. Yes, ma'am?
My advice is, when looking at invention and innovation, and the primary thing about that is licensing it.
Yeah.
Once it's out there, you give it away, it's no longer licensable.
Yep. And so the thing is, should you give away your inventions to see if there's value? No. This doesn't directly apply in the same exact way to everything, but there's something that you can give that will create the experience of value. So with an invention, I'm just going to make stuff up right now. You get a non-disclosure agreement and you share it with people who could be potential investors. But there's other pieces to this too, besides providing the service. Because you're not looking to provide the service, you're looking to get somebody to help you bring this invention into the world, right?
Yes.
So the first stage is not the end user who would be the beneficiary of the service. So it's not, I'm talking about using the service or the product to the end user as a way for them to experience that thing and that service so that they would then be therefore willing to buy it. Like if you created a widget and people get to try it out. One of my clients is a CEO in a Scandinavian company who's distributing these kind of like, the panic buttons for elderly people if they fall down or something and they get hurt. And so he's putting them in elderly people's homes. No charge for the first month. Like just have it. Just see how it makes you feel. And so that's what I'm saying. So maybe the invention has to go through a stage before it can become something that can serve before it's sold. Any of the yeah buts before I go on? Cool. If they come up, just share. This one's really simple. It's be effing awesome. It sounds obvious, right? But like a way to get paid well for what you do is to be really good at it. Duh. You provide more value. How do you get good at it? I'm looking at my friend Michael Sirwa over there. He's a coach. Michael started 3 years ago, maybe? And he started running meetups and just helping people for free. I mean, the guy had like 5 days a week. He was just doing meetups and doing coaching. And you were charging like, I think it was like, my fee is $10, 10 pounds an hour, or something really low. And you were like, and that's just it. And he did coaching and coaching and coaching. And he got really good. And he could do more of it, more of it. And as he got good, he charged more money and he got more clients. And it's the being good. Tell me, is it true? Now that you've gotten better at it, is it easier to create clients that pay more? Yeah, it's kind of obvious, right? Be effing awesome, and then people will pay you more money. And it really matches up really well with this whole strategy of serving instead of selling. Like a year and a half ago, I did a project that my coach challenged me to do called the 100 Secret Dreams. And I had 100 conversations with 100 different people to go down and find their secret dream. I've since done probably 70 or 80 more, so I'm getting closer to 200, but because I just love doing it so much. But as a result, this is just the project. Spend 2 hours with 100 people, find out their secret dream. That was it, full stop, that's the project. Put their names on a list. I've talked about it in one of my other talks. Yeah, sure, I created some clients and stuff, but whatever. The other cool result of that is that I got way better at figuring out people's secret dream. I mean, I just have an intuitive sense now. I've trained myself to know whether or not they're like telling me what they would love in their life. I'm like, yeah, yeah, tell me more. What? That's not it. Keep saying. I'm like, boom. That's your secret dream. I've learned little things, like they kind of do this thing before they say it. Oh, how do I, if I said that? Like you were doing it, you're like, start a magazine for teenagers. It's like, yeah, it's kind of section. That's silly. Like these little things. That's how I know. And you can feel it. And they shake their head and they kind of look at the ground, like all these things. But you only get to know that by doing it a lot, right? You only get to know that by doing it a lot. So serve instead of sell. Get really good at it, and you become more valuable. Bleeding obvious once you hear it, right? Shit. I made a little short video about this the other day, and this is kind of a it's kind of relevant, but it stops people from taking action and creating money, doing what they love, because their dream is, it's a concept, it's not a dream. I want to, can I pick on you just a little bit, sports psychologist? I want to be a sports psychologist. That's like really freaking hard to do because it's not visual, it's not specific. You started to make it a little bit more specific, which made it more actionable. And so ambiguity is like a cloud that really stops us from taking action on our dreams. And we're afraid sometimes of becoming specific because what if it's the wrong specific thing? But then going back to that solution, which is just to create the specific thing. You just make it up. There is no right one. So cloudy dreams are safe dreams. And when you get specific, it creates accountability. I had a client named Rachel. I worked with, really similar to Sarah. She was in corporate and real estate. She wanted to go independent. I coached her to do that and start making money as a consultant. But she also had this secret dream to have a cafe in Brighton. That was about as general as it was. So we worked on getting it really specific. Whereabouts, what kind, what would you sell there? What color placemats would there be on the tables? Like, when would you buy the building? Would you buy it? Would you rent it? Like, just all these specific things. I don't know. Well, just make it up. Just pick one. Make it specific just so that you could have it specific. And our coaching program ended with her having the intention to go and do this, type and look for this. I just got a text from her last week saying the cafe is going to be opening soon. I'd love you to come down and see it. Specificity creates accountability to yourself. When you speak your dream into the world and it's ambiguous, people can be like, wow, that's really great. You know, I think, yeah, he's a motivated person. He'll probably do that, but like, probably not, you know, because it's too vague. If you start making it specific and speaking the specificity in the world, oh, did you start looking at properties in the southern part of Brighton yet? Oh, no, I haven't. Well, that's so specific. So did you do it or not? Create specificity around your dreams, and don't be afraid that it's the wrong thing. Any buts yet? Any more buts? So here's an important piece. I think a lot of this, some of it, or a large portion of it's going to apply to service. Most obviously apply to services, because it's kind of where my framework is. I've always done service-based businesses. Some of you are nodding. So let's talk about a product-based business for a minute. And so I just want to try to find a way to map this in so that all this stuff makes sense for you. So who out there has like a product-based business that you're thinking, how could I make money with this? Nobody. Or not has one, but wants to have one. Sai.
Maybe just selling recorded music.
Selling recorded music. Cool. So, and that was similar to yours. You want to be able to sell music. Or make money from music. So, the first thing that intuitively comes up for me when I think about that, and I could be completely wrong, like I don't know the answer, is that if people aren't paying a lot of money and buying recorded music, then how much of an output thing is it? Unless people, are people paying for recorded music? Are people making money off recorded music? Yeah, you guys are nodding. I don't know, because I steal it. I don't know. No, I buy stuff on, I'm on Spotify, right? So I don't buy music anymore. But do people pay for music still? Yeah?
Not as much as they used to.
Yeah, not as much. Yeah. So just because that you want to get paid for something doesn't mean that people will pay you for it. That's one of the hard truths of the world. And so that's why that whole thing about input versus output. Like, how much value will the world have? But don't wait to find out. Start giving it to people, and then doing this next thing, which I'll just mention now, which is a really important piece, because I'm sure some of you are sitting there thinking, if I just help everybody for free, then I'm never going to make any money. I'm just going to spend all my time doing it for free, and nobody's ever going to pay me, right? And there was the draw your line in the sand part, but there's a really big, important thing here. What's the word that's missing? Blank, and you shall receive. Think? Yeah, we got people saying like, think, give, ask. Yeah, it's ask. If you give, you probably go broke. If you just give, you won't probably receive. Maybe sometime, yeah, okay, you'll receive something. The universe will give back to you. It will. I really believe that. If you just serve, the universe will give back to you. You'll get gratitude. You'll get free cupcakes. You'll get like let into interesting talks for free. The world will give you things and experiences, and probably not money, right? Because the really important piece to focus in that universe is giving back to you is the asking part. Your job is to tell the world specifically what you want and how much. People are afraid to do this. So some people are afraid to give, right? But even more people are afraid to receive. And so they don't ask. Because if I receive, then that means something about me and my value, or that I'm indebted to somebody, I'm a fear of losing that thing that I receive. All this stuff comes up. You got to ask. And until you start asking to get paid for music, you don't get to know whether or not people are going to pay you for it. You don't get to know. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. If they don't, get better at it. Or find other ways to impact them with music. Or ask them in different ways. Ask them for different things. You know? But you don't get to know whether or not people are going to pay you unless you ask. People are so afraid to ask. It's crazy. How many of you have done stuff for free but never asked somebody to pay you afterwards? Yeah. It's scary, huh? Because what if they say no? Then that means what I do is invaluable. That's not true. That's not true. When I did the 100 Secret Dreams, I asked a good 50 of those people to pay me. Most of them said no. You know, some said yes, most of them said no. But it doesn't mean that I'm not valuable, that my work isn't valuable, it doesn't have value. It just means that not everybody needs that and wants more of that and wants to dedicate money to that in their life right now, for that thing. You can't look at what you do and the services and the products and the stuff that you provide in a linear way. This approach is nonlinear. It's chaotic. It's emergent. You put value out to everybody, and then you ask everybody to pay you. Most of them will say no, some will say yes. And you have to be willing to work the system as opposed to be looking for a cause and effect in a one-to-one situation. You have to be willing to do it looking at the big picture instead of the individual. Well, I helped them and then I asked them and they didn't pay me, so that means this system's not working. No, it doesn't work like that. It's non-linear. So I have written down, be a farmer, not a hunter-gatherer. And so this concept is about hunter-gatherer is like trying to go to one person and like hunt down this one, find this one client. I need to find a client and try to get them and get them to pay me. That's all about acquisition, right? And that just creates that dynamic, that one-to-one causal dynamic where it's like, I need you, and they can feel that, and then they don't want to pay you because they can feel that you need it. So being a farmer means just being willing to serve. Like this, 70 people in this room? Like my project of 100 Secret Dreams, like more people than this, I spent 2 hours on every single one. And then, after doing that, I wasn't just like, see you later. It's like for every person, it was like I planted a little seed. Then maybe a couple weeks later, it's like, let me open the window, put some light on it. A little email, phone call. Put some water. Another email, another phone call, another conversation, a little bit of sunlight, a little bit of water. Over time, over weeks, months, years. Some of the seeds never sprout. Some of them turn into a little bit of a sprout, and I keep taking care of it. Some of them wilt and die. Some of them keep growing. And it's over time. And so when I say be a farmer, it's go deep with people, then also go wide. Provide your service to an individual in a deep sense. Plant that seed genuinely, and go wide with that. Plant many seeds, and then cultivate. You're building relationships with people. You're creating trust. Because trust is the other big thing, besides the experience of value. Where did I write this down? Oh yeah, money flows through rivers of trust. And so really taking time, for me, slowing down with people, no matter what your service is, really slowing down and connecting with them, that's how you create trust. There's a really funny paradox in this, because I'm saying you work the system, right? You do it with everybody. But every time, when it's your moment to plant a seed, all there is in the world is that seed and that person. And especially if you're providing a service, like right now, I'm planting this seed, and that's the only one I care about. And I'm not thinking about any other seeds until I'm done with that one. And it's there, and it's taken care of, and the soil's back on top, and a little bit of water, and the sun is just right. Great, I'll come back tomorrow. And then I think again about the big picture. So you have to be able to flip back and forth from this one-to-one personal, really deeply connected thing that creates trust back out to the big picture. Whether you're looking for investments, helping people with startup investment or fundraisers for charities, it's all the same thing. Whoever you're with, connect with that human being. All of my business has been through relationships. Even my web business that was building websites, but everything was through personal relationships. And I'm not saying the sales and marketing stuff doesn't work. It does. It's just not the way that I know. I know relationships. And I know that when you connect with people, connect like an old lady. Like, be in so little of a hurry, you're like an old lady who's just like willing to just sit there and talk all day, and the only thing that's happening is that person in front of you. Connect deeply. So, any more year buts? What's coming up with the year? Like, I want to make money in doing what I love this way, but this is my concern. We haven't touched on this yet. What is it?
The amount of time it's going to take.
Yeah. Tell me more. What's your first name?
Julia.
Julia, tell me more about what's the thing that you would love to do that would take a lot of time.
I'd like to do massage, but it takes time to massage somebody. And to earn money in my other job, I have to work ridiculously long hours. And there just isn't enough hours in the day to do both.
So there's not enough hours in the day to do both, whether you're getting paid or not?
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to do? Like, there's not a magic genie that has more time. So tell me the truth. Is there really no time to massage anybody with your job, your current job?
When I'm working, the answer is genuinely no.
Okay. What do you mean when you're working? Are you not working right now?
I temp, so sometimes I work for 3 months flat out and then don't work for another 3 months.
Like 12-hour days, like crazy?
Yeah.
What about the weekends as well?
I'm usually sort of rushing around trying to do things like
Keep your life together and stuff, yeah. Okay, so this is one of those things where people sometimes think, well, isn't there another way? Can't I just... No, sometimes there's just not. Like, I can't be in America. I think I've said this many times see my nephew grow up and be in London with my business. Like, I can't. But sometimes I get to go there on holiday and I get to spend time and there's Skype and there's alternatives. So you aren't going to find a solution that says there's more time in the day. All you're going to have is an alternative, which is to do it when you have time. Like, we can't create time, but you have time between temp jobs, right? That's the most obvious time. So what if in between temp jobs, all you did is coach massage people? What if I'm not getting paid? Well, you have that time off anyway, right? Are you willing to massage people for free when you're between temp jobs? Is there hesitation, if you're honest?
There is a hesitation.
Tell me about it.
I don't like the idea of doing it for free,
Tell me why.
because to me that means I don't have a value for it.
Yeah,
It's an inbuilt belief inside me.
yeah. You don't value it if you're not getting paid. Is it about you, or is it about them?
It's just a limiting belief inside me, but it's still there.
Yeah, sure, but forgetting the whole labeling of beliefs and stuff for a second, let's just talk about it. Is the massage that you're doing for them, or on them, is that massage for them, or is that massage an activity that will create an experience for you?
It depends who it is. If it's one of my friends, it's for them.
Yeah.
If it's somebody that I advertise for, then kind of, because actually I wouldn't get something out of it.
And this is the problem. This is the challenge that we're all facing. This is what I'm talking about tonight. And I can say this candidly with you because not only have I been through it, but I still go through it. When all of a sudden I'm getting married and we have a wedding and we need more money for all these things, it's like I really want a high-paying client. And then all of a sudden it's about me. And I can feel that coming up and it's like getting in the way. So I get it. But as long as we're doing that, you and I and all of us, as long as we're saying, but I want to get paid first, as long as that's our primary intention, we're never going to create clients through service. You're going to have to be really persuasive, and really smooth, and really great marketing, get lots of numbers, and play the probability game, because that's the only alternative. If you're not willing to put them first, then you're not serving. And they're not going to create an experience of value, and they're not going to trust you. So you don't have to do it this way. You can do it the other way, But if you are going to do it this way, you have to be willing to say, I don't care. I'm just going to serve them from here all the way down to my toes. I'm just going to give them a massage. And it's okay, because I believe in this idea that if I give enough people massages, it's like priming the pump. It will start to work one day. And I can start asking, and people will start paying me. You have to believe in the principle, in the system of give and you shall receive, with the asking caveat. You have to believe in it, and you have to dedicate yourself to it and have faith in it and do it. It's hard. I'm not going to stand here and tell you guys, yeah, just change your belief, and then it's freaking easy. I wake up some days and I'm like, oh man, I don't have that much time. I don't have 2 hours with this freaking person in this side of the world. I don't know. I have a client in India. He's one of my best clients. The guy, when I first met him, he was in a really dark place, and now he's thriving. He's about to get married. His business has taken off. He's got a medical supply company, 100 employees in Mumbai. And I almost didn't call him. My fiance is Indian, Gujarati. I get a lot of emails from guys in India. It's hi, can you help me with my life? And I'm I talk to them, and they have no money, and it's I want to help them, but all these people from India, what am I going to do? I can't talk to all of them, and it's just another one of these guys. But I was I can't think that way. I got to I got to believe in this principle. Doesn't matter who they are. I'm not going to stereotype. I'm just going to do it. And so I called them and talked to them. Ended up being a CEO. Ended up becoming one of my best clients. But that never would have happened if I didn't believe in the idea and work the idea instead of looking at the individual that came through the ad who I want to get something because I placed that ad. I deserve something. I'm giving you a massage. Right? I don't even know you, person. I got my hands on your back. You owe me. What if instead of massaging individuals, you were massaging the world, and the world was going to give back to you at some point? And every single person that you massaged was just one piece of the world that you were massaging. And it wasn't the individuals that paid you, it was the world that paid you. All I'm asking you to consider is, what if you just fell in love with the idea that by serving people, full stop, things could start to work? That's all. You don't have to, it's an option. It's an option to consider. Thank you. Oh, this is a good one. What am I offering? Does anybody I don't really know exactly what I'm offering. How do I talk about what I want to do? Well, the problem with the what am I offering is the I part. Instead of looking at yourself for what you are offering, start moving your orientation to other and what do they need. And this can be a kind of fine line too, because I'm not talking about from a marketing perspective, what are the needs, and they'll just do whatever people need. What do they need? What do they need, right? Don't just do whatever they need. Look at all the things they need, and what's the one that makes you think, ooh, I'd love to help with that. They need some cleaning in their house, they need somebody to cook for them, they need to get over their dead pet, they need to learn how to draw. Ooh, drawing, I love to help people with drawing. Let me help them with that. So if you've got a context, but you're not sure on the specificity, then just start talking to people and being curious to them about what they need. And whatever it is, start helping them with that. So people always say, how do you know what you do? I always say, hindsight. I just look back, what have I been doing? Oh, that's what I've been doing, that's what I do. Because my orientation isn't about what am I offering, it's what does people need that I would love to help with. Does that make sense? That little different orientation about looking out to their needs? And what excites you, not just what they need so that they'll get paid. It's not about that. It's about what do they need that excites you, that draws you in. And then do that. And then if the next time it's different, don't worry. Don't worry if that's a little bit different. If this person you're helping in dating or that person you're helping with their passionate life, that was my path, right? And all of a sudden, it started to come together, and I started to do human connection and living a passionate life. And all of a sudden, it was about connecting with people and making money so you can live a passionate life. It comes together, even if it seems disparate. Am I helping golfers? Am I helping tennis players? Am I helping people that are professional or just, in recreational? What is it? Who cares? Just which one calls you? Just start doing that. Please.
You want to deep down that you are providing genuine value.
Yeah.
You're really helping that person.
Yes, you do.
You want to feel that light bulb, you want to glow.
Yes, yes.
So you always ask, early on, it was sound negative. You're not going to be proficient all the time, are you?
No.
So
Even later on, you're not going to be proficient all the time. And so, here's the thing. Are you willing to help people even though you're not as proficient as you could be later? If you're not, then you never get to be proficient later because you only get to be that way by doing it. You know? Like, people are so afraid to offer a little bit of value because they think people are going to expect a lot. I'm a big fan of just telling people the truth. Like, I have a new client who wants to become a coach, and she was like, well, I'm not a coach. How do I get people to believe I'm a coach? I don't have any clients. I was like, how many clients do you think I started with? One. They're my friend. And like, just tell people, like, I'm becoming a coach. I have no clients yet. Do you want to be my first one? Like, let's just talk. Like, just tell them the truth. I've never been a professional athlete, and I'm going to be a sports psychologist. Here's why. You know, let's sit down. Let's talk. You got to start, and it's so much easier to just say the truth and start from that point because people connect with you and they trust you. Remember the trust? Money flows through rivers of trust. Authenticity is invincible. I always say it just creates so much trust and vulnerability. So this whole thing about what am I offering? Look to them. But also another cool way is instead, if you don't know what it is that you do, define what it is you don't do. I got this like really clear, like who are all the people you won't work with? Who are the people that are not going to be your customers and not going to be your clients? It's like the opposite approach. If there's the whole world and all the problems, here are all the things that I'm not going to do, and I'm starting to create bounds. And then I leave this area. And then I'm just free to look inside that area for all the things that I might want to do. And it starts to help you narrow your focus without, because the other approach is like, I do this, and it's just like shooting one straight arrow out. And is that it? Is that the thing that I love? Oh, what if that's not it? Then I got to pull another arrow out and shoot that one. But if instead you say, these are the things that I don't do, and I create like an area of things that I might do, and then I ask that question, what do people need in this area? And then what am I most drawn to when I see that? Oh, I would love to help that. Or, it helps to take the pressure off, really, of trying to know exactly what it is. So just say no to some things. You know, and it also, it's just kind of, it actually creates more value. As people say, no, you know, I won't do that. Like, I won't work with people in certain areas. I won't work with people to do certain things. I won't help certain people achieve certain things. Like, I just don't do that. You know, I won't work with you unless the thing that you're doing inspires me and gets me excited. I have another question that's, how much time we got? 10 minutes, cool. So I talked about asking. Another one is bigger asks get bigger results. So how many of you are making, and somebody already actually said this about the doubling your fees thing, but how many people are making some money doing what they love right now? Okay, keep your hands up if you'd like to make more money from it. Cool, good. All right, so how many of you have experimented with asking for twice as much? You have. What happened?
Because I was listening to one of the motivational speaker, and I think one of the things that he said was, ask. If you don't ask, you won't receive.
Yeah.
So I tried it on my new job, and I said I want to be promoted. I want to work as a clinical leader.
Yeah.
And this is what I want to receive. And the manager said, okay, you have that position.
Cool. And you got more money too?
Yeah.
Sweet. That's great. Awesome. Perfect example. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you for clapping. Cool. It's so funny how much all the things that we want are on the other side of this line that we're afraid to cross with the question. It's just like, what if I asked for twice as much? It blows people's minds when I challenge them to say, well, just ask for twice as much. And then they get a yes. It's like, shit, I was just doing this. Why was I hanging out there for so long? Or when the people that otherwise would have said no start to say yes. Like you said, right? Sometimes doubling your fees can actually create more clients.
I actually didn't want it, right? That's why I got more fees.
Yeah. I've done the same thing. Yeah, you raise the fee, and then all of a sudden they say yes. But at least, well, now you kind of want them, because that's worth it at that level. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, big asks get you bigger results. You know, my friend Dan's a professional magician, and his thing is like, most magicians get 200 or 300 pounds, and they'll do 10 gigs. He gets 2,000 or 3,000 pounds for one gig. Same money, but you don't actually get 1/10 of the gigs when you start asking for $3,000. You actually get like 3/10. So you actually don't. It doesn't work. Just like you think, oh, if I ask for more, then I'm going to get less. Yeah, but it's not usually proportional. You're usually still going to get more than you would otherwise. Money in the end. We got nodders in the back, confirmers. Yeah. Because the whole perception thing, like being perceived as an expert and the value, it does matter. It's part of it. It's just not all of it. So, what else we got for questions? Because I covered most of the steps that I want to talk about, but I know that there's people in here right now who are going to leave here today and still don't know what their first step is to making money doing what they love. So who's somebody who doesn't have a first step for them to make money doing what they love? Raise your hand and let's create that first step. You won't be held to it. Yes, please. Yeah. If you've been doing a job you don't like, yeah, and you get paid well, you want to do a job that you like and they pay you less, then what? So there's a job that you want to do but they pay less, and there's a job that you're doing that you don't like, it pays you more. Okay, and the dilemma is, what should I do? Is the question, what's the question? Would I, John Morgan, who gives a shit? Seriously. Like, who gives a shit what I would do? Who gives a shit what anybody in here would do? And who even gives a shit what you should do? What really matters is, what do you want to do? Yeah. So, but there's a whole mix-up of needs and desires. Do you want to pay your bills? No, it's a serious question. Some people think, well, actually, these bills I don't want to pay because I don't really want that stuff as much as I want the job. Like, it's simple, but we don't want to look at it. What would be your biggest worry if you did take that job that pays less? No, don't talk about me. What would be your biggest worry if you did take that job that pays less? My biggest worry is that, yeah, whether I'm going to be successful at that job. Is the success tied to the money, or is the success just in general? So it's not really about the money, is it? Yeah. And so sometimes we find that out. Am I going to be successful? And so now let me share what I call the deathbed perspective. And so if we were to fast forward 30, 40, 50 years into your life, and you were at your deathbed, looking back on your life from today until then, and one path was the path where you stayed in your job, and the other was the one that you went through it, whether or not how successful you are, what decision from your deathbed do you wish that you would have taken now? The path of doing the thing that you love, or the path of the other one? Yeah. And here's the thing, is it's because from our deathbed perspective is just one perspective, right? But it's one I happen to value, and I happen to promote. Living without regrets. From our deathbed, somehow we're more connected to our heart. And from that point, what matters more to us is the choices we make and the actions we take than the results we create. Success is not as big of a deal as what did we do? Because it's the realization of our potential that really fulfills us and that makes our life matter, more than the impact that we had in the world or in the success that we achieved, or something I should say. Does that ring true for you? Yeah. And so when it's not about the money, and it is about your concern as to whether or not you'll be successful, and from your deathbed looking back, you'd much rather have done the thing that you would enjoy doing, what do you know that you want to do? What is it? Yeah, so what else is there? What else is what's your second biggest worry if you were to take that job? What's that? Will I do well? Yeah. Are you willing to accept the possibility that you may be successful? Did you hear what I said, though? Are you willing to accept the possibility that you may be successful? And if you're willing to accept that possibility, what action are you willing to take because of it? Because this is the thing, people think about whether or not they're willing to do something if they're not successful. Like, am I willing to do that if I might not succeed? But it's a toxic question, because why look at it on that side? What if you would be willing to do it because you would succeed? Or you might succeed. It's living in possibility of success instead of possibility of failure. So I'm not going to keep you on the hot seat right now and keep holding you to the flame, but it's hot enough in here. But the reality, I mean, you know what the real thing is right now, and that's a powerful question. Watch this video called Immunity to Change by Robert Keegan. And it's about your hidden competing commitment. And this question, what would be your biggest worry if you did do that? This is because the hidden thing was, it's really like, will I be successful? And then Immunity to Change, Robert Keegan. Hidden competing commitments. Who else has something that they would love to do, but they're not sure what the first step is to making money at it? Yes, ma'am.
I want to do cooking, so I want to do something like catering for private events. I just don't know how to start.
Cool. You want to do cooking and catering and private events. Great. So, because you don't know how to start, like, does anybody in this room have an idea about how maybe she could start using the kind of stuff that I talked about today? Anybody want to raise their hand? Just somebody else, okay. Yep.
I'm a chef.
Hi, chef. Tell us.
I'm a personal chef, actually.
You're a personal chef.
Catering for holidays and teaching how to cook, and I started on my 11 hours. People were in, and we're able to do this week.
Cool. So what was the first thing that you did? Sorry. What was the first thing that you did?
The first thing that I did is cooking for a couple of years, but that wasn't my main job. I worked in interiors before.
Yep.
And then just got one of my business clients who's working as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Was cooking for everyone else, and if I could help out because it's quite time consuming. And yeah, had results.
So you started cooking for people that were clients of Chris, yeah?
And then I got referrals. Then people picked me up on social media.
Yeah.
Just met people on parties as well.
Yeah.
And then got my clients through that, they were referring other people. Then I got in touch with doctors, nutritionists, trainers, and then said, oh my God, this is exactly what we need because it's the practical thing that you implement in people's lives to stick to certain diets. And that is actually the problem. This is what I can do.
Okay,
And
good.
I just cook for them, I teach them.
You teach them how to cook too. And so, personal chef, is that kind of similar, or is catering as well?
Yeah. I was just like, there's catering Thursdays, maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of thinking big, which is not to do on my own as well.
Well, it sounds like the beginning is find one person you can cook for, right?
Friends wedding, maybe.
Yeah, friends, anything. If you have a friend that's not having an event, get your friends to have an event, and you cook for it.
Yeah, seriously, birthday party or something, because you've got 20 people there or something. One of them,
Yeah,
oh, I just
anything.
married. I had somebody to do some catering. Do smaller events as well, if you know that there's a networking event.
Yep.
For example, next time you speak, she could be doing little snacks.
There you go. We got a good idea. Make the cakes. Cool.
Yeah, maybe that, yeah.
So this is the thing. It's like that big thing that you want to do. It's like it's big, right? And you look at like when you're doing this big thing and you're catering all these events for all these people. Zoom in on one day, in one particular moment in time. And what am I doing in that moment? And you're usually going to find that you're doing one thing for one person. So because you can't be doing one thing for many people at one moment. At any one moment, you're doing one thing for one person. If you have to zoom it to a fraction of a second, fine. And then whatever that is, do that first. Because it's just going to be a scaling up of that. So find someone to cook for, find friends, find just a tiny little event. Can you do that? Does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I started a YouTube channel.
Cool.
And it worked really well, but
Yeah, and the YouTube channel is great. You know, it can help, but you got to put food in people's stomach. Put some food in one person's stomach. That's the experience. The YouTube is still talking about it. You know, like for me, I can talk about this. I can talk about my coaching clients, but until you experience the impact, it's still not valuable. It's just an idea.
Absolutely true. If you watch a video about food that's like dancing to architecture, it just doesn't go.
Yeah.
You have to actually experience it.
You have to experience it. And the feeling afterwards and how you feel healthier, and so it might even take some time if it's a health cooking thing. Cool. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Great. So nobody's used this word tonight. I was hoping that somebody would use the word hope. That's really funny. That's because the word hope is the word I was hoping would come up tonight. Because does anybody have any hope? Anybody have any hope? You can already see where I'm going with this. You have hope? Hope for what? What do you hope in?
I'm a wellness educator.
And so what do you hope?
So last month I ran a series of seminars on cancer prevention.
Okay.
And so my hope is to impact more people's lives by sharing that knowledge with them.
Okay.
So that they can live a cancer-free life.
Cool. My heart's kind of like, should I do this right now? I'm not going to do it with yours because I really love that. So I want somebody else to tell me about hope because I want to give a little bit different perspective on it. So she was sharing about her hope is that the work she does with cancer patients has an impact on their lives. And my point doesn't actually fully apply to this one. So tell me another person about something that they really hope in their business or making money from doing what they love. Nobody wants to share because they already freaking, I made it obvious. Yes?
I'm very fortunate about.
Okay.
I'm hoping that the people that I will impact will have the words I hope.
Cool. Okay, so this is a good. I'm going to take this one as I'm a coach to fellow coach. And so this is another weird thing that I do in my mind. When people have hope, I say, "Oh, cool. Can I see that for a second? Can I just see that hope for a second? Oh." And that's not a smack. That's like I just threw it off the cliff. Forever, it's gone. Hope defers responsibility. Like it's true that you don't have total control over that. But as long as you're hoping, then you're not doing the things that you could be doing that would ensure that. So let me just replace that with something too. If you hope that people would refer, then you're missing out on the actions that you could be doing to help that people would refer. So a powerful question for you that you have to start asking immediately is, who do you know who could benefit from this? So who do you know who has this problem? Or who do you know who might want to experience this? Or who do you know who is having dating issues, whatever the thing is, who do you know? An open question that can create a conversation. And there's a lot more to that, but just that alone, doesn't that sound better than hope?
Yeah.
Cool. You're welcome. I want to review, just to wrap up. What would you love to do? We talked about that. All these things you love. Some of them are just like traveling or surfing, that's not going to make me money, and these things. Divide it up on the input and output continuum. If it's all input, do it anyway because it's going to make you feel good. You're going to glow. Be more attractive. People are going to want to be around you. They're going to want to work with you, more likely anyway. You're going to also be more creative. You're going to create more things that are output. The output things that want to add value to the world. You're going to impact people. Money flows towards value. So value is our focus. We talked about being unique, doing it your way, creating your own path instead of looking for the correct one, because that's going to make you more fulfilled, you're going to glow more, and it's going to be your unique selling point. It's your USP. It's going to be more valuable because it's unique in the world. There's enough of the same stuff out there already. People get it ass backwards. They're trying to sell and market and persuade. Forget that. Just start doing it, serving people, impacting them. Do it so much that you're risking doing it too much and not getting paid, and then start asking. Draw a line in the sand. Be like, this is it. This is the line. You cross this, you pay me. Because I want to keep working with you, but this is how I work. Ask for bigger things. Ask for more. People will pay you more, surprisingly. As you get better and better, because you've been doing it so much, you can charge even more and more. And the thing is, you don't determine value anyway. If you're providing a service, you don't get to determine value. I used to sell houses when I was in America, as I said. And I used to go in people's houses, and the owner of the house would be like, my house is worth this much money. I'd be like, you think it is, but actually you don't have any say. The buyers determine the value, not you. All you get to do is ask for a certain price. And then people will offer what it's actually worth. So you can just ask. You don't get to determine the value. People do. So prove instead of persuade. Serve instead of sell. Be effing awesome. And you do that by getting better, by practicing it, by doing it a lot. It just fits perfectly, right? You get good by doing it, and by doing it, you create value and impact. Cloudy dreams are safe dreams. Make them specific. Connect like an old lady. Slow down. Take time planting that seed. Be a farmer, not a hunter-gatherer. Plant it. Cultivate it. Water it. Come back to it over time. Don't be in a hurry. You work in the farm. You're working the farm. You know? This is the agricultural revolution of your psychology. Work the farm. Don't go hunting. Just say no. Know what you don't do if you don't know exactly what it is you do. And then from there, what would people need? Get curious about them. What excites me? Do that. Look in hindsight at what you've been doing. That's how I describe what I do. I don't have to describe what I do in advance because I'm not selling it. I'm just asking you if I can help you with that thing that came up through conversation or whatever. Ask for bigger things. Draw a line in the sand. Eradicate all hope. Hope is, I just hate it. Eradicate all hope. Hope is a deferment of your own responsibility and your accountability to yourself. So I'm going to read a quote by Werner Erhard. It is important that you get clear for yourself that your only access to impacting life is action. The world does not care what you intend, how committed you are, how you feel, or what you think, and certainly it has no interest in what you want and don't want. Take a look at life as it is lived, and see for yourself that the world only moves when you act. So my call to action for you is to start acting and start doing, and stop thinking about all the what ifs and the buts, because they're just demons. You don't need that stuff. Just do the thing that you want to do. Provide the service, provide the product, impact the world, and ask. Thank you guys.